Hi guys. Okay, today I am off to see Ralph and Sky, who are two French Bulldogs. So happy days for me. And they're in Bristol again. Seem to be doing everything in Bristol at the moment. And quite a few different issues. We've got issues in the house with barking and being reactive at things, excessive greeting, jumping up a lot when people come in, things like, which is classic Frenchie, barking at the Hoover and trying to attack it and the mop and those sort of things. So a lot of high intensity behaviours going on here, which is very, very common for the breed. Frenchies, as I think I've mentioned before when I've done a Frenchie session, they are a very specific breed. They go into a high intensity state extremely quickly. Even if they're completely chilled, if something triggers them, they will just go from 0 to 60 in a heartbeat, and then they can be a lot harder to calm down than other breeds. They get into this state and then they don't snap out of it for quite some time. So we're going to be doing a huge amount of work on how to keep them calm. If they are not completely chilled all the time anyway, which it sounds like they're not, because it sounds like they're on alert. If they're being reactive and barking and excessive greeting, that's generally connected to insecurity, being on high alert all the time. So we'll be doing a huge amount of work on teaching them to just chill. And then obviously we have then got to get rid of these conditioned patterns of behaviour. So we will get the Hoover out and the mop and the things that are likely to trigger them. Obviously we're going to see what goes on when we knock on the door and come in. So we'll do a lot of work on people coming in and getting them calm when people come through the door. We should get some nice before and after shots of that. Frenchies are actually very intelligent, but they're incredibly stubborn and very difficult to find their off switch. Like I say, when they get to being really, really hyped up, it can be difficult to bring them down. So the key to it is not letting them get into that state in the first place. Obviously, yes, there are things we can do that will create an off switch and bring them down, but it's always a lot easier if they're not getting up there in the first place. So lots of work on staying calm. Outside of the house, I've written down that they're sometimes fine with other dogs and sometimes not. And if they're not, they will then gang up, basically, and just be very over the top. From what I've read in my notes, I can't remember when I spoke to them, I don't think they're being really aggressive. I think they're just being incredibly over the top, which is, again, all of this high intensity state of mind that I've been talking about. So it's all connected, definitely. We just need to chill these guys out by the sounds of it, and then everything else is going to fall into place and we'll get the control back. They are actually clever dogs, very clever dogs, but they're very stubborn, very willful, and like I say, once they've got into that crazy state, it can be hard to snap them out of it. So I think a lot of that is why they have a reputation for not being a clever breed, but they actually really, really are. They definitely know how to play people, how to get what they want. They've got their nobody loves me facial expressions down to a fine art. They're actually quite cheeky, and they do know what they're doing. So I think we need to get the owners back in control, which will not only help to get them out of their high intensity, but will also really help to make them feel safe and secure, which is the reason they're going into this state in the first place. You know, when a dog's displaying reactivity and anxious behaviours, that means that they're not feeling safe and secure, and they're trying to deal with the potential threat as they see it, like the Hoover, themselves, rather than looking to their owners and going, that's a bit scary, what do you want me to do? Yeah, so the leadership side of this is absolutely vital in making them feel safe. so that they understand that it's not their job to have to deal with anything, basically. And that's how we give dogs the best possible life, by teaching them that they can just be confident and happy because we're going to deal with anything difficult and they won't have to. And once they get to that state and all that lovely leadership is in place, they just relax and chill and just have a much better life in general. So that's what we're going out to today. Looking forward to it. Obviously, you know, I love Frenchies and I still miss my puck, so it'd be nice to do some work with some Frenchies. And yeah, I will probably take too many videos because they're Frenchies. And I will talk to you about everything afterwards.
I think it's anxiety thing, but
Yes.
it's really bad when people come in. It takes her about 10-15 minutes to calm down, and then he's fine, but it's always the initial when someone comes into the house.
Okay, yeah. The important thing and the hardest thing, especially in the first week, and it's more about you guys getting into the habit of it. The dogs will get used to it very quickly, providing you're consistent. And once they have learned that the best way to get attention is to be chilled, they'll catch on to that real quick and they'll be chilled all the time. Okay? And if you need to use the leads in the house like we're doing now, because they won't calm down because they're just play fighting all the time, fine, that's what we do. Yeah? And certainly with visitors, and I'm going to go through a whole thing with people ringing the doorbell later, but certainly when visitors come in, there needs to be on the lead, especially. Alright, so but I will go through that all separately. But again, same scenario. The visitors come in and you must not let them fast the dog. So even if it's someone that they know really well, like a relative or a friend that comes around often, same 5-minute rule applies. So, you know, if you, regardless of whether it's been for like 2 minutes or 2 hours, when you walk back into where they are, you're going to ritual. We need to do people coming into the house. Why he looks worse than her. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, but it's actually all coming from Madam. Getting a little stressed and not having had any discipline. Amy. I forget all this by the time I get angry. What did I do? Oh, I've missed that snow. It's so... Relax with his lead. There you go. Good dogs. Well done, guys. That was amazing. Look at them. Look at you. I know, well done. Oh, Jesus, you are just not to sit. Look after them. Hoover with it. I'm literally holding it. Right, back down. That did not take long at all. Good man. Good. So what happened there was she looked at it on her own without reacting.
So just
Leave. Good girl. Good girl. Leave. Sit. Well done. Leave. Good girl. Leave. We're just going to need to take this slower with her. She's not ready for it to be picked up yet. But I'm going to leave. Good. Good girl. You're so good. Good girl. Well done. Leave. Yes, good girl. You see how she takes her eyes away when I say the word? Yeah. What I don't want to do any more with them because they've done a lot today. So that we can leave the Hoover. And what you also want to do on yours, always have tricks with you, so that when they're all asleep, you can give them treats. Like, they look nice next to your faces, or treats, don't they? them some freedom to have toilets and things, let them have the full length, and actually give a verbal command like break or go sniff. Because hi guys, right. Whew, I'm shattered. 2 very intense, lovely Frenchies, but yeah, lot of work needed to calm them down, basically, which is what I expected. The older one, the little girl Sky, is a rescue dog and an ex-breeding bitch, but that by the sounds of it was kept in pretty appalling conditions and didn't have a great start in life at all, bless her. And she is just very, very nervous of everything, really, and just nervous reactive, so very, very barky. Ralph was actually more barky with people coming in, but Sky's reaction to the Hoover was, I mean, I've seen a lot of dogs that are reactive with the Hoover, but this, whew, yeah, this is, I think, probably the most extreme I've ever seen in my career. She really wanted to kill that thing. So there's going to be a lot of work needed for that, but we did make some good progress, so we've got a good starting point. Ralph was a lot easier with it, because he never started doing that until he watched her do it, so it was never really his issue. He was just copying Sky. So when we did it with Ralph on his own, he cottoned on to the idea that if he didn't react, he would get cheese very quickly. I think he's very food motivated, which is very, very helpful. Both of them are, but especially Ralph. So yeah, he cottoned on to that extremely fast. And Sky, that I was worried just wouldn't snap out of it, did actually snap out of it and was getting a lot calmer. But whereas with Ralph, we were able within a few minutes to pick the Hoover up. We haven't even got to the point of turning it on yet, but we could at least excuse me, pick it up and move it around, and no reaction. With Sky, we weren't at the stage of picking it up, but we were at the stage of her being able to look at it and not freak out. So, you know, we could look at it, we could touch it, we could move it on the unit. So this is going to be a really gradual process with her of getting her used to the idea that seeing the Hoover is going to give her cheese, providing she doesn't go batshit, basically. So yeah, we made a really good start. Walking was brilliant. They were both previously on harnesses and just constantly pulling, and well, actually Sky wasn't too bad. They said it was mainly Ralph that was really bad with the pulling, and it's definitely just getting distracted by the slightest little thing, not paying attention, not staying to heel. So we've ended up using a prong collar. The slip lead works really great in the house and for both of them, and for little Sky, absolutely great with a slip lead on a walk. Certainly going to be much better for her, well, for both of them than the harness. But Ralph was just too strong, really just too strong, pulling through the slip lead. And obviously with him being a Frenchie, we can't have any restrictions on his windpipe because of their breathing. So the absolute safest way to go with him is the prong collar, which yeah, worked like a dream. He picked it up really, really quickly, and yeah, was doing beautiful, lovely heel work within a couple of minutes. So really happy with that. So, but we couldn't actually be out for long because it was just too hot, and especially the breed that they are. You know, we were heading for the park, which was a 5-minute walk, and we didn't get there. I think we got nearly there, and then I was like, nah. Well, we all were like, it's too hot. We need to take them back. So we only had a very short walk, but we still achieved what we needed to do for the heel work, which is fantastic. And what we're going to do is in the next session, which I'll be going back in 3 weeks. It's September, the beginning of September, so hopefully it'll be a lot cooler, and we can do some proper outside work. So we're going to meet at the park as usual and do some more work and actually make a start on the recall, because that was the only thing we couldn't do today because of the heat. We just couldn't spend time outside to be able to do the recall, so that's not a problem. We had an awful lot to do in the house anyway, and we can focus on the recall once the dogs are a lot more focused on lead walking. You know, there's no point in trying to get them off the lead if they're not even focusing and listening on lead. So I think they've got plenty of work to be getting on with, lots of leadership structure to put in place. I also we had to add separation anxiety to the list, which I didn't note before, because they've been sleeping in the bedroom and they're never really left on their own. Apparently Sky is okay, but Ralph just howls and barks if they try to leave him. So we've sorted out some good boundaries and a good safe space for them, and taught them how to work on the separation anxiety so that they can actually have a life and maybe go to the movies without needing a dog sitter. Something like that. So yeah, there was an awful lot to do in the house, so it's not the end of the world that we couldn't spend the time outside, because we've got that second session which is specifically for walking anyway, so it makes perfect sense to utilize that time. And yeah, some fun videos to look at, some nice before and afters, which is great. They were really, really good, just really classic Frenchies, like I said before, just they're a very intense breed, and when they get into that crazed high intensity state, they can just be very, very hard to bring down. So we're working on stopping them getting into that state, and then they've got techniques to put in place for snapping them out of that state if they do get into it. So it's prevent, and then if it happens, this is how we deal with it and bring them down. But overall, really good session, very sweet dogs, gorgeous. I just love my Frenchies anyway, little squidgy faces, and yeah, another nice day. Hard work today, made me work. I'm probably a bit of a shock after my really lovely puppy session yesterday. But it's all good. We like to be challenged. So yeah, really happy with today, and I will take do another video on the second session and see how they are with their walking.